A warm welcome to Agric Economy on ASN Television, Abuja, Nigeria. I am Khadija Oluwatoyin. Today, on the program, we shall be taking a look at the impact of mechanization on agricultural labor markets. And to discuss this with me in the studio is our guest, our economist, who is always coming to shed more light and sharing his thoughts and knowledge with us on the program, Mr. Gabriel Idakolo. Before I bring him on, we'll quickly go for a break, and when we return, I'll introduce my guest properly to the house. Stay tuned. The level of mechanization has a significant positive impact on the cost, output value, income and return rates of all types of crops. For every 1% increase in the level of mechanization, the yields of all crops, grain crops and cash crops increased by 1.215, 1.5941 and 0.4351%. Labor employment per crop hectare shows a declining trend with increase in farm group size under different categories of mechanization. The inverse relationship revealed between labor employment and farm size holds true in case of operation like sowing, intercultural operation and irrigation. Problems of farm mechanization are those things that hinder the actualization of farm mechanization. Example is land renewal system, poverty, bad topography, inadequate spare parts, inadequate technical manpower, amongst others. The main advantage of mechanization, not limited to automated systems, perform repetitive, labor-intensive tasks faster and more consistently, increasing overall operational efficiency in terms of performance quality, turnaround time, and reliability. They also reduce the time spent on non-value-added activities. Welcome back. It's still the program Agric Economy on ASN Television, and like I said, my guest for today's topic is Mr. Gabriel Idakolo. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So much has been said in regards to mechanization. We've had mechanization crop up in different topics we've had on the program, but now I want to look at the impact of mechanization on the agricultural labor markets this time. How do you think has mechanization be a source of relief? Let me use that word.
Mechanization, if you want to put it in its context, is using machines to replace what hands can do, and improving the turnaround time, improving the process time, and also improving the quality of the output at the end of the day. So when we are talking of mechanization vis-a-vis labor, we all know that reduced labor will be the outcome of improved mechanization. That means what 100 people can do on the farm, machines with 10 people will be able to do far better and cover more grounds at a shorter time than what the 100 hands can do at a time. So that is one of the impacts of mechanization on the agricultural labor. And the other aspect is the cost of mechanization on agricultural labor. If you look at most companies or countries where mechanized farming has greatly improved, you'll discover that they bring about cutting-edge machines to be able, at a very high cost, to be able to cover more grounds, to be able to process as fast as possible, and to be able to do the work at a set time frame. When we talk about the cost, you discover that on a short run, the cost of machines are very high when they are being purchased to be used for mechanization. But on the long run, you start enjoying the benefits and at a reduced cost. Which, when we compare the initial outlay, increased labor on in the farmland is cheaper, but on the long run is more expensive than mechanization. And that is what comes to play at the end of the day.
Okay, we did now, turn to the issue of unemployment. If farming is actually trying to, curb the unemployment rate in the board.
I do not believe it's going to turn to unemployment. Instead, it's going to increase diversity in employment, in the sense that people will now be able to be trained to use diverse materials, diverse machines, and expand their capacity. For example, if 100 people have been congregating on a particular farm for harvest, for example, and we have machines that 10 people can man, it means that the remaining 90 can spread into farms that hitherto have not been utilized before, to increase production, to increase income and earning, and to improve the overall economy of that country. So I do not believe that mechanization is going to reduce labor. It's going to expand the capacity of agricultural practices where it is being used. And it's going to also improve the knowledge and procedures of what is being, of agricultural practices in the country. And that is why mechanization is the way to go, is the way other countries are going, and it is the way to meet set deadlines that human nature, due to human frailty, might fail to meet. For example, if there is an epidemic, for example, on a farm, and 50% of the workers could not be able to work, that means set outputs will not be achieved. But if we have machines in place, even if there are some that will be down, others, because of the fewer number of labor, will be able to warm in for them and be able to do the work. So that is why it is very important that it goes hand in hand, and training of the labor force to understand the usage of the machinery is very important, and it's core to the improvement and the expected benefits that mechanization brings to agriculture vis-a-vis the labor force.
So, in the long run, what now is what disadvantage should investors or farmers now look out for in using mechanization?
Actually, it comes with some disadvantages. One of the major disadvantages is the effect on the soil. When you are using machines, machines tend to be more aggressive on the ground, and it can affect how soil texture on the long run will perform.
Okay.
The second aspect could be pollution, because some of these machines come with implements that has to do with for example, diesel or petrol, whatever it is that they are being used to run them. It can be dropping on the farm, it can be polluting the air around the farm, and other. So those aspects are some of the disadvantages that could be to the disadvantage of mechanization. The third disadvantage could be when equipments break down and they are not quickly fixed, or the parts that is needed is not readily available. It can shut down activities in the farm, and it can make timelines not to be met on the long run. So these are some of the disadvantages that farmers need to look out for, because all around Nigeria, you go around some farming settlements and you see a tractor that has been parked for years not being used. You wonder why is it there? It's because one way or the other it has broken down, and it has not been fixed, or the components that needs to be used cannot be found readily, and they decide to discard it.
I think this brings us to localization of these
of the machinery itself. That is because, for example, if you are manufacturing, if you are a manufacturer of an equipment, for example, the accessories are easily gotten. You understand? Well, if you are sending them out, before in Nigeria, for manufacturing companies that manufacture various things, they even send some easily broken down accessories alongside with it.
Yes.
You understand? So that you have them in case such happens, you just use them as replacement. They call it replacement parts. So, but if those products, those machineries are not manufactured in the country, you have to make orders for them. You have to expect them to come back, and the time of export, making the order and expecting the materials to come back, it can affect farming practice. It can affect utility on the farm, and it can affect a lot. That is why it is important that as we are going in the area of industrialization, we are also looking at agric revolution. We are looking at ensuring that some of the farm implements are manufactured in the country. Local manufacturing is very, very key, because when those machines break down and there is no replacement parts on time, it can even affect farming practices.
Okay, we've talked about some of the disadvantages.
Yes.
Can you also tell us, aside, like you've mentioned, we see that some of these implements. Okay, for example, a few days ago, I live in a new upcoming area where you have these bush rats, not the regular ones you normally see within the city. And then one day we woke up, I needed to use my washing machine, and I realized that the socket, the hand that you plug to a socket, it has been beaten and eaten, and I was wondering, like, how come can a rat, the teeth will be this
strong to devour?
I now went to the market. We have a local market that runs every 4 or 5 days where I live. So I went there and said I needed pakute. I know it's just the Yoruba people that will be able to.
Yes, a trap.
A trap. And then I got there, I saw one big one. I didn't know it was complicated. I didn't know it's somebody that does hunting or something.
That uses that.
I saw it that, with the anger in me, I bought it. It didn't even occur to me to have the person selling that.
How is it
used?
Is it
used? I saw the small one that I see in every home. I refused to buy that one. And then I got home, I kept it there. I was now looking at the thing. So where do I hang these? Where do I? So this comes to me asking, do we have enough, training when it comes to using of these, machinery?
Yes.
Because sometimes you see that some cooperatives come together.
Yes.
They buy this thing. Just 1 or 2 persons know how to use it.
Yes.
I've been in a community where it became a quarrel, and just 2 persons know how to use the machinery. And then when you have quarrel with this Mr. A that knows how to use it, and you say, okay, today, now my farm, they won't do this work.
They won't come.
Tell you that it's busy. It's not feeling fine.
That's the truth. The aspect of training cannot be overemphasized, and that is why I said that a good number of people needs to undergo training in usage of farm tools, because just like you said, if very few people are trained, they will hold the whole community to ransom. They will hold the company to ransom, and it becomes a problem. It's just like saying, okay, for example, in Nigeria, we only have one aeronautic engineer that knows how to repair planes, for example. That means if the guy is not available for one reason or the other, even if he's sick, that means nobody in Nigeria can repair any plane. We'll have to now depend on bringing foreigners in. So that is why training is very key and is very important. And again, one aspect that you did not even mention, which is also very key, is that if people are not adequately trained or properly trained, they can even destroy the machine. And that is where the problem is. They will say, oh, the others have been doing it, I too can do it. So what is there that they are doing that I cannot do? And because of lack of proper training on the usage of that machine, it can lead to the destruction of the machine. And when that happens, you spend more money to bring it back to shape. So that is why it is advocated that training across board for usage of machines from the simple to the complicated ones, need to be put in place for everyone that is on the farm. Another aspect is some people feel that it's only the technicians in the farm that should know how to operate the machines. It is wrong. The manager of the farm, the reapers, or whatever position that you are in the farm should have a knowledge of how it is operated. In case there is absence of the key people that used to operate it. Because if everyone has the knowledge, it will help the farm to continue to move without hindrances.
Okay, yes, you've heard it. Quickly, we'll go on a short break while we return the program continues. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's still the program Agric Economy on ARCN Television, Mabushi, Abuja, Nigeria. And we have been discussing on the impact of mechanization on the agricultural labor market. So much has been said. We've talked about the importance of the labor market itself, the human labor market, as well as the need for machineries to be localized for greater yields to be covered and gotten, and so many advantages our guests have spoken and talked about. Looking at what we have on ground, just months ago the federal government came on a MOU partnership with John Doe Group, saying that they're going to be producing some bringing in some tractors for Nigerians. These tractors back then was aimed at giving certain farmers and ensuring that some of these sectors have been boosted and ensure that productivity is doubled. We are yet to see the tractors arrive in Nigeria though. Okay. But do you think there is more that government needs to do in this regards?
Apart from importing tractors into Nigeria, just like I said, Nigeria should have a relationship with manufacturing companies that can come into the country to establish manufacturing plants to actually produce those tractors. If we have not gotten to the level of production, we can get to the level of assembling, to assemble those tractors and adapt them to our environment. Just like I said earlier, there are some cars, for example, now they say that they are made for African use, while some cars can only be used in other climes because of the nature of their environment and the nature of their climate. For example, you cannot in a temperate region, you cannot use a car that does not have a very strong thermostat to withstand cold. A car that can easily be frozen and the battery is dead. So that is, they produce cars and adapt it to the environment and to the climate of that area. That's the same thing with manufacturing of tractors and other farm implements. It should be manufactured and adapt to the environment where it's supposed to be used. That is why, in as much as I advocate that tractors should be imported to improve our agri production, we should look for ways of assembling and manufacturing some of these farm implements in Nigeria. So apart from signing MOUs for importing tractors into Nigeria, Nigeria should also look at signing technology exchange to be able to manufacture some of these agricultural implements in Nigeria, to ensure that they are adapted to our environment for usage.
Okay, we've always talked about government doing these, investors coming in. Before now, I remember vividly growing up. You see that I've seen my peers, my contemporaries. You see them in this science, there used to be this science exhibition for different age grades. You see some people producing as far as producing helicopters, you know. What can we do to encourage this in the agricultural sector?
The major problem we have when it comes to research grants in other sectors of the of our economy is the same problem we have in agriculture as well. We have brains, we have people that are gifted that could produce some machinery and farm implements that just needed support and research. And that is what differentiates Nigeria and some other African countries with other climes. In other climes, for example, right from when you are in the university, because most of the research grants that old universities abroad or in other countries come from private sector and also the federal government. Once you are in the 100 level, you will have started partnering with your professors to look at specific things that you can, either theories or things to manufacture or things to improve upon. It will have started being part of what you are expected to do or to churn out on the long run. So funds are channeled towards those areas as research grants to ensure that you have unhindered access to funds to be able to carry out your research in the area of, even you discover that in those countries some of those professors and their students, for example, even travel outside the country to go to other places to gather knowledge to be able to improve on what they are researching upon. The successes of the pharmaceutical industry in the United States, for example, and Britain, cannot be overemphasized, and it is basically because of research and because of the heavy funds that is being allocated to research. So in Nigeria, we have not gotten to that level yet, and you discover that even funds that are allocated, the mega funds that are allocated to research, are being embezzled and they are not being used for that purpose. Our academicians also cannot be exempted from this culpability, because some of the professors use these funds for purposes that are not meant to be used for. And that is why some foreign donors find it difficult to 100% rely on our researchers in Nigeria by channeling funds towards their researches, because they feel that their funds might be diverted for other uses. The same thing with even the funding from government and other private sector. The diversion of funds for other uses, I'm not saying it's predominant in Nigeria alone, but it is more, it's common. When it comes to Nigeria. And without research, we cannot bring out cutting-edge technology that can compete with others all around the world. And that also being said, the research, the place of research in agriculture, for example, can never be overemphasized, because it is in the process of improved research that improved seedlings will come in, improved farm tools and adaptable to our climate, or improved pesticides and others will come in to be able to combat the challenges that we face. It is through research that we'll be able to use adequate planning for crop rotation and integrated farming, as the case may be. So, but in a situation whereby research funds are mega, research funds are diverted, and the morale of researchers are low, we will not be able to achieve the set target as regards research.
Okay, finally, your words for farmers and then, for government.
Yes, for farmers, I want to tell them congratulations, because this is their time. The government is focused on farmers. The whole economy of Nigeria is looking at agriculture for improvement, and farmers are now the stars that Nigeria are looking up to. So their role is cut out for them. This is the time to be a big time player in the agri sector. And for the government, all the encouragement that is needed is for the government to ensure that it walks its talk. Every plan and policy is properly implemented to improve our agriculture and actually make Nigeria to be in the position it used to be many years ago.
And to, government.
I believe the government of this administration, that's the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, started by making pronunciations, and they have started putting in place measures to improve Nigeria's agricultural output. But be that as it may, more attention needs to be put in monitoring, in evaluation, and performance management when it comes to agriculture.
Thank you so much for coming on the program yet again.
Yes,
that's it. You've heard it. This is the time for farmers to hit it big. This is the time that you can, invest your money. This is the time that you can do something different, and then you see, big difference in whatever that you do. This is the time to make money. Agric is the main being in every economy all around the world. Even those that do oil still go ahead with agriculture. So if you're able to do something different, try something different every day, and you see how it channels good for you. On the note, to wrap it up on the program for this week, join us again, same station next week. I remain your host, Khadija Oluwatoyin. I'm saying bye for now.